Hello everyone, welcome to practice. Today we are going to continue with the Backbends series. We're going to cover two asanas. The first one is Setu-Bandhasana, that you might know as a half bridge pose, and we're going to do that right at the beginning because it's an asana that it can be quite gentle and it can work as a warm-up. And we're going to build up all the way to Urdhva Dhanurasana, or some of you might know it as Chakrasana, which is the full wheel pose. So we're going to do some stretches, some exercises to strengthen certain parts of the body, and also to understand how we can involve legs, chest, and shoulders in the process of aiding and ensuring that we can go deeper in our back bends, but like also with safety, without putting a lot of compression in our lower back, which is what normally happens. There's going to be modifications, variations. You're going to need a block, and the strap for this or a cushion also can work. So find a comfortable seated posture. Placing the hands on the knees, just take a few deep breaths here to center yourself. Contract the lower part of your belly under the belly button, and as you inhale, inflate the rib cage to the front, to the sides, and to the back. Bringing the air all the way up to the collarbones. And as you exhale, feel that your rib cage, they are moving inwards towards your belly button, contracting, engaging the whole of your core. And take a few breaths like this. Maintaining the lower belly contracted. And if you're familiar with Ujjayi breath, you can apply Ujjayi breath. One more. Bring your hands to your heart center. And if you wish to do so, set an intention for your practice. Slowly open the eyes. Drop the hands to the knees. And then lie on your back. We're going to start today as if you're doing Shavasana. So relax the body on the mat. And then bring your attention to your lower back. Just for now, feel how your lower back, feel this today. If it's feeling tense or relaxed, if there is any pain or if there is any discomfort in your lower back. And notice that there is a gap between your lower back and the floor. You can even maybe place your hands under and see that gap. So some of us, we have a bigger gap, some of us, we have a smaller gap, but there is always there because there is the natural curve of the spine. So when we are relaxed, when we are not engaging anything, then there is this natural curve there. And then also, I want you to locate your tailbone. Feel where your tailbone is. You're probably going to feel in the area of your sacrum that it's pressing against the floor. Some of us feel more, some of us feel less. But then there is that contact with the floor. And very slowly, what I want you to do now is to bring your heels close to your hips without lifting the feet off the floor. So just slide the feet on the mat and place the foot on the floor And now notice that the gap in between your lower back and the floor is not there anymore. So if you try to place the hands under, it's not there. And now also notice where your tailbone is. So you can probably feel that from the position it was before, it kind of turned upwards and now it's kind of facing the ceiling. If you miss that, you can do it again. You can extend the legs again. Notice now the gap here and notice where the tailbone is, and slowly take a deep breath in and begin to bring the feet in. Relax the lower back. Notice how much you use your core though to bring the legs in. And then relax into this pose and feel the lower back really pressing against the floor now. And the tailbone facing the ceiling. We're going to begin to move actively. So have the feet parallel, the toes pointing forward, hip distance apart. And you can bring the feet as close to your hips as you can. If you can rub your middle finger to your heels, you probably have the correct distance. And then turn your palms down so you can press the hands against the floor to help you with the movement if you need to. Relax the shoulders. And then as you inhale, notice where the tailbone is and then begin to send the tailbone up to the ceiling just a little bit. Maybe you slightly lift the hips off the floor. Stay here for a while. Notice the core now being asked to contract so you can do this movement. Notice that there is some sort of contraction on the legs as well. And then your hip flexor here begins to stretch. And then come back to the floor. On your next inhale, again, send the tailbone up to the ceiling. This time go a little bit higher and then stop there. Again, noticing which parts of your body are contracting, which parts of your body are stretching, and come back. So we're going to make this movement dynamic. Every time you inhale, you come up vertebra by vertebra coming off the floor. Every time you exhale, then one by one, you drop the vertebrae to the floor. And each time we repeat the movement, we go a little bit higher. And exhale. Be careful that you don't let your knees come out, so the knees are always pointing towards the front. If you feel that they go out, you can use a block. Place a block in between the thighs and squeeze the block as you come up. Inhale and exhale. Again, lift and drop. And this time we're going to lift to the maximum of our mobility range and of our strength. Press the heels down firmly, engaging the legs. Tailbone moving up towards the ceiling. Open the chest here. Squeeze your thighs towards each other or squeeze the block or a cushion. If you feel comfortable in this position here, you can interlace your hands behind you. Bring your shoulder blades closer to each other. This will give you even a more intense extension of your back. And really actively use your legs, pressing the heels down, feeling the stretch at the front of your body. Contracting your glutes, but not too much. Don't over-contract here. Balance the contraction of your hamstring and the glutes. And take a deep breath in. If you have your hands interlaced, release them and slowly exhaling vertebra by vertebra, bring the whole of the spine to the floor. Remove the block if you use it. And then bring the knees to the chest. Hug the knees here. Stretch now the lower back. You can move a little bit from side to side. And then we're going to slowly, gradually swing back and forth. Tuck the head. Swing. See if you can come straight into a squat. If not, if you fall back, you try a few times. And if you cannot stay, then you come into a sit, press the hands on the floor, and come into a squat here. A squat is really good to release tension from the lower back, even if your heels come off the floor a little bit. For now, it doesn't matter because we're not going to stay here. So we're going to stretch the hip flexors a little bit more. So place the hands on the floor. We're going to move the left leg back and place the back foot as far as you can from the floor, maintaining the front knee on top of the ankle, and drop the knee to the floor. If you feel pain or discomfort on your knee, you can place maybe a thin cushion or a folded towel or a blanket under the knee. And then we come up to the knee here. You can place the back foot on the floor, drop the tailbone, bring your belly button and your pubic bone close to each other. Remember that contraction that happened in the belly when we were lifting slightly, that the same contraction happening here. And then you sink a little bit lower. And take some deep breaths. You can stay here, or if you want to then stretch also the top of the body, you can raise the arms up to the ceiling, look up to your thumbs, either palms parallel to each other, or if you can keep your elbows straight, you can place the palms together. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Release. Bring the hands down to the floor. Tuck the toe behind you. Slowly extend the front leg. Flex the right foot. Stretch your hamstring on the right leg here. You can stay up here. You can stay up on blocks. Or if you have space, you can come closer to your leg. Just don't drop the head like this. Just keep looking a little bit ahead on the mat. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, come back to the lunge. We're going to bring the left foot forward and we're going to come back to the squat. So take the knee off the floor and step forward. Come back to the squat. And we're going to do the same thing with the right leg back. So send the right leg all the way back, as far back as you can. Drop the back knee to the floor. Make sure that your knee and ankle are aligned. Come up to your knee. Place the back foot down. Support your knee if you need it. Drop the tailbone. Contract the core here. Feel that this deepens the stretch of your hip flexor here. And then either stay here or raise the arms. Place the palms together, look up. Breathe. And exhale, come down. Tuck the back toe, extend the front leg, flex the left foot, and stay here on your runner stretch. The more you flex the foot, the deeper is the stretch you're going to feel in your hamstring. Keep the core engaged. Keep the chest open, so don't collapse here. One more breath. And exhale now, place the foot back on the floor. Instead of coming back into the squat, bring the hands down. We're going to send the left leg back and come into a downward dog. This is just a transition here. So we're not going to stay for too long, but if you feel like you want to move your legs, stretching the arms, sending the tailbone up to the ceiling, drop, relax the head here. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, drop the knees to the floor. And we're going to keep the hip on top of the knee and walk the hands further to come into Anahatasana. So the asana for the Anahata chakra, the heart chakra, or also known as puppy pose. So if you come all the way down to the floor, you can have your chin on the floor, the forehead. Or if your chest is not touching the floor, you can also place a block or a cushion under and also use something for your head here. In whatever position you are, just make sure that your arms are completely extended to the front, and you're actively pressing the hands down on the floor. So this is going to give you a better chest and shoulders opening, and you're probably feeling a deep stretch on the side of your armpit. Don't contract the shoulders here, keep the shoulders relaxed. And breathe. You can stay in this pose actually for a long time, but so if you feel like staying, you can pause the video and take another maybe 5 or 10 breaths here. Otherwise, you just press the hands firmly on the floor, come up, walk your hands a little bit further back. We're going to come back into downward facing dog, so send your heels up to the ceiling, drop the head, and then look at your hands, bend the knees, step forward, come into a halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And we're going to have a quick little drill here. So we're going to understand the position of the legs and all the alignment principles that are involved into a back bend. We're going to do this standing, and then we're going to come down to the floor for the full wheel pose. So if you have a block, grab the block or use a cushion. You're going to place the block in between the thighs. Keep your feet parallel, so don't open the feet to the side. You're going to understand why in a minute. So keep the feet parallel. And then squeeze strongly the thighs against each other and feel how strong we are here. So squeeze and release a few times. And then we're going to rotate the thighs inward as if we're trying to send the block back. So I'm going to show it from the side. Maybe you can see better like this. If I rotate my thigh inwards, notice that the block goes back. That's what we want. And as the block goes back, the tendency here, when we rotate the thighs in, is to stick the tailbone out. But we want to do exactly the opposite of that for back bends. So as we rotate the thighs in, we push the pelvis forward and release. So squeeze, rotate the thighs in, push the pelvis forward. This is called posterior tilt. And do a few more times. Rotate the thighs in, push it forward. As you push it forward, also you will feel that the weight comes to your toes. And then you want to resist that by sending weight towards the heels. So you come forward, press the heels down. You're going to notice that your hamstring here, as you press the heels down, engages. It's the same thing that happened when we're doing Setu-Bandhasana. As you press the heels down, the whole back of the leg gets activated, and this is what we want. And release. You can try this a few more times. And now we are going to learn how to involve the chest. So the chest, instead of pushing the chest forward, because if we push the chest forward, the ribcage forward, what happens naturally with the pelvis is that the tailbone goes back. Yeah? And for back bends, that's not what we want. So instead of moving it forward, we're going to move it up. And when we move the chest up, the action that is happening is that the shoulder blades are coming down. So that's what we're doing. So inhale, drop the shoulder blades, the chest goes up. And then if your head is okay, you can tilt the head. So inhale, lift. Exhale, drop the head. So the hands move down to the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. You can try this a few more times as well. And now we are going to put everything together, the action of the hips and the action of the chest. If you want, you can have the block again between the thighs, but you can also try to do it without it. Working with the breath is very important. So prepare, take a deep breath in, rotate the thighs in, push the pelvis forward, lift the chest up. And as you exhale, go a little bit deeper. Engage the back of your legs here to hold you. And inhale, come up. We're going to do the same thing one more time. Squeeze the thighs together, rotate the thighs in. Inhale, pelvis forward, chest up. Exhale, come down. And come up. You can try a few more times. The important thing to remember here, especially when you start to go deeper, is not to collapse on the chest, because it's the action of lifting the chest up that is going to give space here on your lower back, and you're not going to compress and put all the weight going down onto the back. So keep lifting, counteracting the force of gravity by pushing the chest up. Very good. So then we come down to the floor, and we are going to lift into Urdhva Dhanurasana, placing the principles. So we did puppy pose to open the chest, open the shoulders here. You can do also, if you need some more preparation, you can use a strap. Hold the strap a little bit wider than your shoulders, and then work on just bringing the strap over the head like this. And you can do a few repetitions, making sure that you don't push the chest forward like that. You keep the belly engaged, keep the chest lifted, and we just move the shoulders back. It might be that you get all just up to here. It doesn't matter. It might be that you can roll completely, which means that you have very good shoulder mobility, and you can do that. And when you feel that your shoulders are open enough, then we can come into wheel pose, Urdhva Dhanurasana. So when we are down there, one thing that commonly happens is that we place the hands, but because of lack of strength on the arms, the elbows go out. So we want the elbows to stay in, and we cheat a little bit by turning the fingertips out to the outside of the mat when we place the top of the head on the floor. So you move the hands, you turn the hands out. Yeah? This might make it a little bit more difficult for you to lift in the beginning, but as you develop strength, it will help you. So we set up exactly as we did for Setu-Bandhasana, and we're going to lift the hips as we did for Setu-Bandhasana, but this time we bring the hands next to the ears. Working on the breath. On an inhale, we push the hips forward, heels firmly on the floor, legs moving towards each other the same way as we were doing when we were standing, pressing and internally rotating the thighs. Contract your core, and then give yourself a little push here to come to the top of your head. And then walk your hands a little bit closer to your ears and turn the fingertips slightly out so my elbows stay locked in. And then as I inhale again, I will push myself up. Try not to collapse here on the legs. Keep the knees facing forward. If you have space, you can walk your hands a little bit in. And then when you had enough, try to breathe here though. Don't hold the breath. And when you're ready to come down, tuck the chin in. Place the back of the head on the floor, and then drop vertebra by vertebra. Try to keep the heels down. Instead of doing this, try to keep the heels down and come down. And you can do it a few times. You can practice your strength by bringing the top of the head to the floor, walking and coming up a few times. And if you're still developing the strength, it doesn't matter if you can just come to the top of your head. And when you're trying to push the arms here, you feel that you cannot lift. You just stay here. It is good enough. Yeah, because you're developing the strength in the arms. And it doesn't really matter. Just don't stay too long, because otherwise you're going to bring a lot of tension to the shoulders. But slowly, gradually, learn how to push up without bringing the elbows out. So just hug the knees in. Swing from side to side. And then just roll back and forth. And come to sit. Extend the legs forward. We're just going to come to a counter pose here, Paschimottanasana, or a seated forward fold. Flex the foot, straighten the spine, and slowly lean over your legs. Doesn't matter if you are all the way down here or if you have to stay up here. This is just to move the spine and move the pelvis the other way. You can also do maybe in yin style, placing a cushion or a block here or a block to your head. And release. Just keep the feet active. And stay here for as long as you want. You can stay for 10, 15 breaths. So if you need, pause the video and take some deep, long breaths into the forward fold. Whenever you're ready, lie back. You can swing from side to side here, hugging the knees or allowing the knees to come all the way down to the floor, one side. And then you can move to the other side, as long as the shoulders stay down. So a twist can feel quite nice after a back bend. And hug the knees in. On your next inhale, bring your head towards your knees, squeeze yourself into a tiny little ball. Contract all the muscles in your body, taking a deep breath in and hold the breath. Keep contracting, bringing tension to the body on purpose. And when you can no longer hold the breath, as you exhale, release the body down to the floor, coming into your Shavasana, your final resting pose. Lie with your legs apart, allow your feet to fall to the side. Arms away from the body, palms facing up. Relax your shoulders. Slightly open your mouth and move your jaw from side to side. Relax the muscles on your face. Relax your eyebrows and the space in between the eyebrows. Taking a deep breath in, feeling how open your chest is at the moment after all the back bends. And just allowing the exhale to happen naturally, without forcing, without pushing the air out. And see how deep the exhalation moves into the body. And again, a deep breath in, expanding the rib cage, opening the chest more, opening the heart. Exhale, allow the air to come out naturally. And just release control of the breath. Take rest in stillness. I will leave you here, but you can stay in Shavasana for as long as you need. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. Namaste.